Jaylen Brown is not the type of player that I would normally spend any time picking on, criticizing. I don't really have anything bad to say about him. He's fairly quiet. He's a great basketball player. He's physically menacing. I mean, he can dunk like a beast. At least he's willing to dunk on people bigger than him. Case in point. Maybe that's exactly why this bothers me so much. That it's such an indication of the direction the NBA has been going. You know, it all begins with LeBron James in my mind, but I'm not going to talk about LeBron today. I'm talking about how other players are mimicking that behavior. I'm talking about grown men looking insecure and acting childish. I really can't stand the too small gesture that players do, particularly because so often it's being done by a big player to a small player. There's nothing to be proud of there. You're bigger than he is. You're supposed to win that matchup.
You're supposed to, you dumb motherfucker.
Why are you pointing out that you're bigger than someone that it's clear that you're bigger than?
What, you want a cookie?
It only makes sense to me if a smaller person gets the better of a giant. David versus Goliath. Maybe then I could get a little snicker as I see David do the too small thing as Goliath lays there on the ground. But when you are Goliath, I don't get it. That's really pathetic. Did I say this wasn't going to be about LeBron? Come on. Let's take a look at that mighty Hunter LeBron's victims. Ish Smith, 6 foot, 174. Wow, LeBron. Getting real brave there. 9 inches, 70 pounds. Break this down a little further because the extreme size advantage is bad enough. Look, if you win, then walk away. You did your job. He doesn't even have the nerve to face him. You got to go talk to the crowd. What are you proud of? Again, you embarrassing bitch. But that's only the beginning. LeBron also had to cheat in order to beat someone smaller than him. That's dislodging. I'll show you proof in a moment. And then he travels. And then he gets bailed out by the ref and is still proud of himself. That's crazy.
Oh, that was nearly a travel, instead an and one.
Now take a good look at the screen. This is the NBA's video rule book, and it's showing dislodging. Which, again, I'm confused that this rule exists because LeBron dislodges on pretty much every play. See that? You can't tell me that that isn't LeBron's bread and butter. The NBA is saying that that is not legal. So you just needed the height, you just needed the weight, you needed to be able to break 2 official NBA rules and the refs in order to back down Ish Smith. Be proud. Be very proud. Let's see who else LeBron is brave against. Trey Mann, 6'3", 195. Just basically another human being smaller than you. I'll tell you one thing. LeBron couldn't guard Trey Mann or Ish Smith in his wildest dreams one-on-one. Let's take a closer look. LeBron has the advantage of a backdoor cut. Mann comes over to help. That's a brave move because it's a no-win situation there. There's LeBron getting away with a technical. And again, as he walks away, he does the too small. It's so pathetic. At the other end, Mann shows his quickness and his ability to rise, exactly why I say he would beat LeBron James one-on-one. But you notice, LeBron isn't interested in helping. LeBron just stays out of there. Well, guess what? At the other end, that wasn't Mann's man. That was Mann helping. In other words, LeBron isn't as brave as Mann. And then we get to the giant, Patrick Beverley, 6'2", 180. LeBron, you fucking bitch. And LeBron didn't even get the revenge. He had to have Austin Reeves get the revenge for him, which doesn't even exist. If someone else does it, that's not revenge. If anything, you should be further embarrassed that other people smaller than you are having to step up for you. Notice a few things here. At least Pat Bev has the nerve to face him. In fact, he slaps the floor to get his attention, whereas LeBron walks away. Even against smaller players, LeBron's got to walk away and do the small thing to the crowd rather than to the person he actually did it to. So finally we come to Dylan Brooks. 6'6", 225. Okay, well, good job, LeBron. Now this one's only 3 inches shorter than you and about 30 pounds lighter. And yet, when that smaller guy scores on you, oh, you pretend you can't see him. Until Anthony Davis shows up and helps your ass out. You got a lot to say about something you didn't do, LeBron. And just in case I never finished the episode about LeBron being a dirty player, here's another entry into LeBron being so brave. Nico Mannion and LeBron's really classy, completely unnecessary blind screen on the other side of the court. Why? Well, if you're LeBron James, the answer is because he's 6'3", 190. Or is it because LeBron turned the ball over at one end, Nico Mannion hit the 3 at the other end, and the league will let you take your frustrations out on this little guy that just came up from the G League and only played 30 games, but played long enough to get a taste of LeBron's bullshit. The crazy thing is, we all know how LeBron would have acted if that had been done to him. I don't understand you fanboys. I mean, even if I did like LeBron, I'd be done with him after this. Look at him. He needs 2 people to help him up. His legs don't work because he got poked in the eye? Let me finally come back to Jaylen Brown. Now, Jaylen Brown is no Goliath, but maybe to Steph Curry he is. I mean, that is 4 inches and about 35 pounds. If I can't back down a guy that I'm 4 inches and 35 pounds bigger than, well, I'd probably be showing some insecurities. And it's not just that, it's the foul call. You argue whether or not that's a foul, it's sad. It's kind of ticky-tacky. Whether you win the technicality that it is officially a foul or not, it's not the type of foul that you act big about. It's not the type of foul that you powered through like a strong man and somehow came out on top. This is not the moment to boast. Which leads to asking, why was he acting this way? Is it actually a symptom of other things? Is he still hurting from getting his ass handed to him in 2022? Not to mention that the guy is smaller than you, but it's not just that. Maybe the problem is that Jaylen Brown actually got dunked on. Maybe it's that Jaylen had his shot blocked twice. I don't know what it sounded like on the regular network, but this is the TNT Overtime app, and I could very clearly hear Davis say, "Give me that shit." Maybe it's that Curry took his team over the finish line and Jaylen didn't. I tell you what, if you're a Celtics fan, this is a cause for concern because this was a mental breakdown. This is a failure of strength of character because I would say that the Celtics had every advantage with the exception of Steph Curry. Steph Curry can't alone be the reason that the other team wins. I mean, you've got Jason Tatum. Jaylen Brown is pretty amazing. Drew Holiday, Al Horford. These guys, whom you know very well, are going up against Warriors whom you have to pretend that you know about. Podziemski, Davis, Joseph. If we're being honest, most of you still don't really know who Moody is. Whether these guys are great or not, that's different than the usual narrative in the NBA that you have to have all these known superstars. I don't know why the Warriors have this unspoken rule of not having anyone on the team over 6'9". Speaking of 6'9", that's also Draymond Green's height, I think, or 6'8" or 6'9". Is it fair to say that the Warriors are doing better without Green? Can we just never, ever let him come back and let history show that he was never needed? That would make me happy. Oh, I didn't even mention White. I mean, every time I looked up, he was hitting a three-pointer. But now I look at the box score, I see, yes, he hit 7, but he took 18? Is that right? I'm reading this on NBA.com. 18? He took 18 3-pointers. I think that's how many the entire league took back when they introduced the 3-point shot. Continuing with the size theme, every time I looked, someone bigger was guarding Steph. I mean, he's not a very big guy, but the other person usually had a physical advantage, whether that's Drew Holiday, whether that's Jaylen Brown, maybe even Tatum was on him a few times, So if Curry, using his speed, his quickness, his craftiness, and even some toughness, is able to actually score against these guys, I think he's the one who should get to do the too small gesture. Not saying he should, but it would make more sense. How am I going to wrap this up? Look, it was an entertaining game. Quite the finish there. But only one of the two teams was actually too small. The Warriors were too small. The Warriors are always too small. And in my opinion, that means they're the only team who should be allowed to do the too small gesture. If you are, in fact, the bigger guy or the bigger team, doing the too small gesture is kind of pathetic.